Do you remember Sears? The name that once stood for the American dream. The largest retail empire on the planet? A place where every family found everything, from watches to home appliances. But would you believe that even while it dominated, Sears began a 7-decade journey of self-destruction? What truly happened to this icon? Join us as we uncover the secrets of this unprecedented tragedy. Humble beginnings and the mail-order revolution. The story of Sears didn't start with skyscrapers or bustling shopping malls, but from a truly humble beginning. In 1886, in the small town of North Redwood, Minnesota, Richard Warren Sears, then a railroad station agent, stumbled upon a rejected shipment of gold watches from a local jeweler. With his keen business acumen, Sears negotiated to buy these watches for $12 each, then resold them to other station agents along the railway line at a discounted price of $14, pocketing a $2 profit per watch. In just 6 months, Sears amassed about $5,000, his earnings from the watch business far exceeding his railroad salary. This initial success prompted Sears to leave his railroad job and establish a mail-order watch business in Minneapolis in 1886. Soon after, he partnered with watch repairman Alva Curtis Roebuck, and in 1887, they moved the business to Chicago, publishing their first mail-order catalog, specializing solely in watches and jewelry. In 1893, the company was renamed Sears, Roebuck & Company, and they began diversifying their product catalog. The timing couldn't have been better for a general catalog company. Before the 1890s, people in rural areas often had to travel long distances to the nearest post office to send and receive mail. But in 1896, the Rural Free Delivery Act was enacted, ensuring that residents in remote areas would receive mail directly at home without extra charge. Coupled with the development of a railway system connecting distant regions, Sears fully leveraged these new infrastructures to expand its distribution network. Before the Sears catalog, farmers near small towns often had to buy supplies, usually at high prices and on credit. From local general stores that offered a limited selection of goods, prices were often based on the store owner's assessment of a customer's creditworthiness, so prices could vary among customers. With the advent of the Sears catalog and rural free delivery, rural residents now had access to a vast array of goods, delivered directly to their homes and at publicly listed, transparent prices. By 1896, Sears offered an astonishingly diverse product catalog, from watches and jewelry to bicycles, sewing machines, dolls, stoves, and even automobiles. Sears' massive catalogs, initially called Book of Bargains and later The Great Price Maker, were not just a tool for advertising products, but an astonishing feat of consumer education and business branding. It taught millions of shoppers about mail-order processes, from shipping and cash payments to returns. The language in the catalog was simple, intimate, and welcoming. A 1908 catalog even declared, "We want sincere criticism more than we want your orders," emphasizing Sears' ultimate commitment to customer satisfaction. Sears truly taught Americans how to shop. Sears not only demonstrated how to operate a business efficiently, but also pioneered cost reduction and tight distribution control to achieve its dominant position. In 1906, the company built a massive distribution complex in Chicago, spanning 3 million square feet. Full-page illustrations of this factory, with its beautiful, gleaming red brick, were prominently featured on the back cover of every Sears catalog. Any customer could see how their goods were received, stored, how orders were processed and shipped, and where the catalogs were published. This distribution center was, in itself, the most effective advertisement. As one of the largest facilities in the world, it symbolized the mail-order company's dominance. Conquering the retail store market. As Sears stood at the peak of the mail-order industry, a new challenge emerged: urbanization and the dawn of the automobile era. Instead of retreating, Sears once again demonstrated incredible adaptability. In 1925, under the brilliant management leadership of General Robert E. Wood, who had previously worked for rival Montgomery Ward, Sears opened its first department store in Chicago, marking a major turning point in the company's history. Wood's strategy wasn't limited to just opening stores. He focused on expanding into suburban areas, away from city centers, near places with ample and free parking. A key factor as car ownership exploded in the 1920s, these stores were often located in working-class neighborhoods, far from the main downtown shopping districts. By designing and building their own buildings from scratch, Sears could focus on business needs rather than outward appearance. Sears created a spacious shopping model with open floors, serving both men and women with practical products like home appliances and building materials. Even during the difficult period of the Great Depression, Sears continued to thrive by focusing on essential, reliable items like socks, underwear, sheets, and towels, rather than high-fashion items like traditional department stores. Sears stores were simple, serving customers looking for good value to meet practical needs. By the end of the Depression decade, Sears' store count had nearly doubled. After World War II, under Wood's leadership, Sears continued its aggressive expansion, following the wave of suburban migration and the development of new shopping centers. By the mid-1950s, the number of Sears stores in the U.S. Surpassed 700. The company also expanded beyond borders, opening its first store in Mexico City in 1947 and entering Canada in 1952. By partnering with a Canadian mail-order company to become Simpson Sears became a pioneering chain in an era when department stores were largely independent, and alongside JCPenney, became standard anchors in shopping malls. The period from the 1950s to the 1970s is considered Sears' golden age. Sears became the premier destination for families seeking the conveniences of modern life, offering an unparalleled range of products at affordable prices. During this time, Sears launched deeply trusted, iconic brands like Craftsman Tools, Kenmore Appliances, and Die Hard batteries. Sears was known and relied upon for its excellent customer service and satisfaction guarantee policy, a commitment that made shoppers feel confident in their transactions. Many adults who grew up before the 1990s will surely remember the annual Christmas Wish Book, released in the months leading up to the holiday season. This colorful book was filled with images and descriptions of all sorts of toys that children never knew they wanted until they flipped through the pages, circling their choices. It was an indispensable part of many generations of American childhood memories. Sears continued to flourish throughout the 1970s. By the end of 1991, Sears was still the world's largest retailer by revenue. However, Sears' market value in constant dollars peaked on May 4, 1965, equivalent to $92.1 billion today. Sears analysts later determined that its retail dominance peaked in 1969. That year, Sears' revenue accounted for 1% of the entire U.S. economy. Two-thirds of Americans shopped at Sears in all quarters of the year, and half of all households nationwide had a Sears credit card. From then on, for 50 years, Sears fought and lost the battle to save itself. What city are you watching this video from? Share it in the comments below, I'm really curious. Complacent leadership and lack of vision. The downfall of most companies can be traced to a succession of subpar CEOs, and Sears was no exception. After General Robert E. Wood, the chairman and driving force behind the company's three most successful decisions, stepped down in 1954 at age 75, Sears was run by a series of bland yet competent executives for 20 years. This was an opportunity for the board to nominate a worthy successor, a dynamic young manager who could lead Sears into a new future, but instead, they let aging potential candidates take the helm one by one, each serving an average of just over 3 years until mandatory retirement age. These managers steered Sears steadily throughout the 1950s and 1960s. The company grew and its stock boomed. However, the world was changing, and Sears' leaders seemed not to realize or did not want to see that their business model, based on broad selection, premium service, and periodic deep discounts, had become an antique. They never hired consultants or attended industry conferences, considering themselves members of a higher class who needed no outside instruction. The biggest manifestation of this arrogance was the 110-story Sears Tower in Chicago, which began construction in the 1960s and was completed in 1973. At the time, it was the world's tallest building and held that title for 22 years. CEO Gordon Metcalf explained to Time magazine, As the world's largest retailer, we thought we should have the world's largest headquarters. The company projected that by 2000, Sears employees would occupy all 110 floors. This was a symbol of overconfidence, a sign that the company had grown complacent. Surprisingly, Sears sold the tower in 1988, after only 14 years of use, and moved out in 1995. The building is currently known as Willis Tower. Arrogance eroded discipline, and discipline is central to Jim Collins' analysis of the Mighty's fall. The cost of discipline is often the first thing lost, and this certainly happened at Sears. While outsiders had long assumed that economies of scale would forever give Sears an insurmountable cost advantage in pricing goods, that wasn't true. The company could indeed buy goods for less than anyone else, but its operating costs were so immense, e.g. the gigantic headquarters building, that the company's overall costs exceeded the industry average. Success generated growth but also bureaucracy, altering discipline. Sears' employee handbook ran to 29,000 pages, a testament to its enormous bureaucracy. The rise of new competitors. As the special century of U.S. economic expansion, 1870 to 1970, faded in the 1960s, working families dwindled, and those that remained spent less at the same time. Consumers enthusiastically embraced a new way of shopping. Discount stores, which achieved low prices through minimal service and high merchandise turnover. In 1962, a miraculous year for retailers, Walmart, Kmart, and Target all opened their doors. All three surpassed Sears in annual revenue by the time Eddie Lampert took over in 2005. Sears leaders were aware of this phenomenon, but felt completely unthreatened. They told themselves that Sears was the king of discount retailers. They seemingly failed to grasp that the new chains were fundamentally different, offering much lower prices than their relatively capped pricing structures, but customers noticed the difference. Furthermore, Sears missed the information technology wave. Sears leaders apparently saw no need to upgrade their cost control and accounting systems, leaving managers astonishingly blind to their operational efficiency. Many costs, goods, logistics, capital, and many others were averaged across the entire company, making it nearly impossible to decipher where money was being made and lost. Meanwhile, Walmart, under Sam Walton, went far in this area by using information technology, IT, to manage logistics and analyze operations. Failing to adopt IT when it first emerged left Sears decades behind its competitors in cost efficiency. Another irony is that Sears, a company founded on serving customers through mail order, disbanded its catalog business in 1993, precisely as the internet was taking off. Sears had the infrastructure, customer base, and logistical capabilities to have transformed into a leading e-commerce platform. The company was uniquely positioned to leverage its extensive catalog experience into an online shopping environment, mirroring what they had done for decades via mail. But instead of pursuing the opportunity to evolve its catalog model into a digital format that could compete with or even predate online giants like Amazon.com, Sears closed its catalog division and laid off 50,000 employees who had once fulfilled those orders. Erroneous strategic decisions. By 1967, the company realized a change in strategy was needed. The new plan was to stock higher-priced goods to attract wealthier shoppers. Gross profit margins reached nearly 40% by 1969. However, this strategy undermined Sears' long-established foundation as America's largest supplier to working families. Then came an economic downturn, followed a few years later by a deeper recession and double-digit inflation in the 1970s. The special century had ended, and Sears' new strategy was precisely the wrong one. Consumers wanted low prices, and all those discount stores were perfectly positioned to serve them. By the mid-1970s, Sears could no longer ignore these problems, so the company moved to the next phase of denial, claiming declining performance was not the company's fault. Sears researchers said it was due to the economy, too many U.S. stores, narrowing industry margins, and an aging population. The bottom line? It's everyone's fault but ours. Donald Katz summarized the 1970s internal view in his book The Big Store. It was as obvious as day and night that making money would become harder and harder no matter how clever we were. Do you remember the feeling of flipping through a Sears catalog or visiting their stores during their golden age? What other retailer gave you a similar nostalgic feeling back then? Share with us in the comments. Second fatal error: diversifying into financial services. When Sears was still the largest retailer in the United States, its leadership began to believe that trying to revive Sears' image as a retailer was futile. Edward Telling, who became CEO in 1978, believed that the Sears empire could not maintain its incomparable position relative to most other companies based solely on its current business. He believed Sears needed entirely new reasons for existence, even if it meant profoundly changing Sears until it looked like something else. Thus, Sears began its second decisive mistake: aggressive diversification into financial services. This plan was not merely an expansion, but placed the retail business in a secondary position. An initial wish list of merger partners included major names like AT&T, Chevron, John Deere, IBM, and Walt Disney, but all were ruled out. Ultimately, strategists concluded that the new business had to be one that greatly benefited from Sears' existing strengths, especially public trust. A recent Roper poll declared Sears America's most trusted corporation. Which industry valued trust the most? Financial services, the planners determined. Sears acted quickly. The company acquired real estate firm Coldwell Banker and brokerage house Dean Witter Reynolds in 1981. Combining these companies with the insurance company Allstate, which Sears had owned since 1931, Sears suddenly became America's largest financial services company by revenue. Sears harbored a grand plan. Consumers would not only buy new refrigerators from this largest U.S. retail conglomerate, but would also seek new homes, mortgages, and home insurance. If they had money left over, they would also invest in Sears. However, signs of failure were clear in retrospect. The company's planners, like many grand strategists, viewed customers not as people to be served, but as a natural resource to be exploited. Vice President Donald Crabb explained the rationale. "We will allow Dean Witter and Coldwell Banker to reach this enormous customer base." This was a classic example of strategy stemming from the company's needs, not the customers. Another ominous sign was Sears' justification to investors for acquiring these companies, relying heavily on synergy and cross-selling. Almost all acquirers beg for those two blessings and almost always overestimate them. Sears certainly did. Dean Witter offices within Sears stores did less business than standalone offices. 4 years after the new strategy was implemented, Sears financial centers, combining Allstate, Coldwell Banker, and Dean Witter in various forms across 312 Sears stores, were still unprofitable overall. Merging customer data for effective cross-selling proved exceedingly difficult. In fact, John Pittenger, a consultant for Sears at the time, observed that there was almost no synergy with the other companies. By diversifying, Sears got the worst of both worlds. They did not achieve the calculated synergy from financial services, and for the first time in Sears history, retail was not the company's focus. Tom Wilson of Allstate, a Sears executive in the 1980s and 1990s, said, "I don't think they started out unfocused on merchandise, but that's what happened." This was a terrible time for a retail player to take its eye off its core business, especially as major retail killers, Home Depot, Staples, Best Buy, Bed Bath & Beyond, were emerging and transforming the retail industry, while Walmart was becoming a giant. Pittenger stated, "The board saw stores as a product that generated as much money as before, and executives planned to squeeze the retail operations until it stopped." Consequences of implementing this strategy were clear. In 1981, when the diversification was announced, Sears sales were 36% worse than the retail industry average. During the period when Sears owned the financial companies, it was, on average, 49% worse. Combining an underperforming financial business with a massive retail business created an unimaginable result. By 1988, Sears' market value had plunged by 66% in constant dollars compared to its 1965 peak. Wall Street had marked Sears as an acquisition target. Finally, Sears abandoned its financial services strategy in 1992, announcing it would sell or spin off Coldwell Banker, Dean Witter, and Allstate. A part of the company for 61 years, that was the best thing that ever happened to these three businesses. Freed from Sears, all flourished and thrived. However, it was too late for Sears retail operations to return to glory. In your opinion, was Sears' attempt to enter the financial sector its biggest mistake? Or was there another factor that pushed them to the brink? Missing the digital wave and asset stripping. Not only did Sears get stuck with its diversification mistake, but it also missed another golden opportunity to survive in the 21st century. In 1993, Sears made an ironic decision to cease its catalog business. This was precisely when the internet was taking off, and Sears, with decades of experience in mail-order sales and a massive distribution infrastructure, could have become an e-commerce giant like Amazon. Instead of transitioning its traditional catalog model to a digital format, Sears closed its catalog division and laid off 50,000 employees, losing its core competitive advantage. The sale of the Sears Tower in 1988, after only 14 years of use, was also a sign of diffused focus. Although 600 headquarters staff remained, the merchandise business team of 8,000 people was dispersed to smaller, less expensive facilities. This was not just selling an asset but abandoning a symbol of power, scattering the workforce and weakening the company's morale. The Eddie Lampert era, the final blow. The final and perhaps most fatal turning point came in 2005, when Eddie Lampert, head of hedge fund ESL Investments, acquired Kmart and merged it with Sears, forming Sears Holdings. Instead of investing in rejuvenating the brand and its stores, Lampert implemented a drastic cost-cutting and asset liquidation strategy. Under CEO Eddie Lampert's leadership, Sears shifted from a retail-focused model to a top-down micromanagement style, while establishing a cutthroat internal competition culture that many liken to the Hunger Games. Lampert held regular morning calls with the management team, setting per capita metrics for every individual and requiring all decisions to go through him. This stifled initiative at the store level. When sales dropped, employees were not allowed to propose creative solutions, but merely waited for orders from a detached executive board. This micromanagement created a work environment lacking freedom, demotivating employees and pushing staff morale to record lows. One of the most controversial elements was the implementation of the stack ranking performance review system. Under this system, employees were categorized into different performance groups: the best performers, average, and least effective. In theory, this seemed logical, but in practice, it created a fierce fight for survival. Instead of encouraging cooperation and knowledge sharing, stack ranking forced departments and individuals to compete fiercely to avoid being ranked in the lowest group. Sears business units were designed as independent entities, each operating with its own board, reporting profit loss based on BOP, business operating profit, metrics Lampert expected to create internal competition, but in reality, it encouraged unhealthy rivalry. Segment leaders scrambled to display numbers to win budgets, while employees had to hide their laptops. During meetings to avoid having their data spied upon, employees even had to sign separate contracts to use support departments like IT or HR. Anyone who delayed would be penalized in their profits. This led to information hoarding, refusal to help colleagues, and even undermining others to make oneself stand out. Team spirit was destroyed, and joint projects became stagnant. Worse, employees lived in constant fear of being downgraded and losing their jobs. A former Sears vice president recounted to Business Insider that meeting room B6 at the Hoffman Estates headquarters became the place where Lampert furiously attacked anyone who failed to answer data-related questions correctly for 45 minutes straight. This tension not only deterred senior management, but also permeated down to store employees, creating an atmosphere of always living in fear instead of working in trust and understanding. The "find loopholes to manipulate" culture reflected CEO Lampert's philosophy of maximizing short-term profits, disregarding human factors and customer experience. Eddie Lampert's management philosophy was criticized for overly focusing on maximizing short-term profits and cutting costs at all costs. seemingly forgetting the value of people, the employees who directly operated the system. While Lampert sought to sell off valuable real estate assets or sub-brands to raise cash, investment in employee training, store upgrades, or improved welfare was neglected. While major competitors like Target or Walmart continuously renovated premises and enhanced experiences, Sears cut spending on maintenance and store upgrades. One employee said Sears refused to spend $2 million to improve its lighting system, while also banning discussions about store issues, leading to empty shelves, broken fixtures, and deteriorating shopping spaces. Sales associates lacked the necessary training and motivation to provide the best service. Additionally, CEO Lampert operated Sears like a hedge fund, prioritizing asset liquidation to inject cash for dividends and reduce short-term debt, rather than investing for long-term operations. To cut costs, Sears continuously implemented staff reductions. This not only affected the morale of those who remained, but also weakened the operational capacity of the entire system. With a dwindling number of employees, stores became cluttered, shelves empty, and customer waiting times grew longer. When employees felt unappreciated, lacked opportunities for advancement, and lived in constant uncertainty, their loyalty to the company gradually vanished. This led to indifference at work, declining service quality, and impact on revenue. As a result, Sears entered an unstoppable downward spiral. Sears had not been profitable since 2011. By the time it filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection on October 15, 2018, Sears had incurred a total loss of approximately $10 billion for 7 consecutive years, along with tens of billions in liabilities. Under Lampert, Sears closed over 3,500 stores in 14 years. At its peak, Sears Holdings, including Sears and Kmart, had 3,843 stores nationwide. However, as of December 2024, only about 8 Sears stores remain nationwide. Iconic brands like Craftsman, Kenmore, and Die Hard were also sold off. Craftsman was sold to Stanley Black & Decker in 2017, Kenmore in 2018, and Die Hard to Advance Auto Parts in 2019. In fact, Sears Holdings, the bankrupt company, is even suing Eddie Lampert and others for allegedly stripping the company of billions of dollars when he was CEO Lampert, and ESL have denied all wrongdoing. The slow death of an icon. It's astonishing that Sears prolonged its decline much longer than most other companies. Thanks to its immense success at its peak, Sears could endure for a long time, but ultimately could not escape its fate. Jim Collins, author of How the Mighty Fall, noted that greatness is built very slowly. Think of Walmart or Southwest Airlines. Decline is like going up, an accumulative process. The decline of a great company only seems instantaneous because you notice it when it becomes acute. Those are the very dangerous things about decline. The disappearance of Sears, once a central icon of American consumer culture, is like a fading element of contemporary American culture. It's not just the collapse of a business, but the end of an era. Universal lessons for today's business leaders. The story of Sears is a tragic epic, full of valuable lessons for every business leader today, regardless of size or industry. Arrogance and complacency are the enemy. No company is too big to fail if it ignores market changes and customer needs. Sears developed enormous arrogance, believing no outsider could tell them anything of value. The prosperous complacency of the 1960s, combined with the board's failure to find another Robert E. Wood, set the stage for trouble. Success can mask weaknesses and sabotage all prior work. Rapid adaptation is mandatory. Consumers are not a static entity. Their needs constantly change. Companies need to continuously innovate and adapt to new technological trends, especially e-commerce and new business models like discount stores. Sears was too slow to leverage its brand to change with trends and retain customers. Stay focused on core business. Diversification can be a double-edged sword. Straying from the core business to pursue unrelated opportunities like financial services can dilute the brand and scatter resources. Sears lost focus on its retail operations, just as new competitors were emerging and reshaping the industry. People are the most valuable asset. A toxic work environment that undervalues employees and lacks investment in people will lead to collapse. No matter how vast a company's assets or long its history, a company may have enormous assets and a long history, but if it neglects the human element, those who create core value, then collapse is only a matter of time. Lampert's Hunger Games culture destroyed morale and caused a brain drain at Sears. Brand value must be nurtured. A strong brand is an invaluable asset, but it needs to be built, maintained, and protected with authenticity, trustworthiness, and continuous customer satisfaction. Brand is everything. It's what you want to communicate to consumers and what you will communicate, no matter who you are. Sears lost the trust and dedication of its own employees, leading to an irreversible decline. Looking at the downfall of Sears, what is the most valuable lesson you think companies today need to remember to avoid making the same mistakes? Share your thoughts. 30 forgotten department stores we all miss from the past. Long before online shopping existed, department stores were where families spent their weekends, children met up, and back-to-school trips became a tradition. These places played a central role in daily life, holding memories, marking seasons, and defining childhood. In this video, we'll revisit iconic department stores that once turned every family outing into an adventure. Woolworths. Let's begin our nostalgic journey with a legendary name, Woolworths. Founded in 1879 by Frank Winfield Woolworth, it was the ancestor of the five and dime stores, a concept that completely changed the way we shop and served as a precursor to the modern mall model. Imagine this. In the early 20th century, when you stepped into Woolworths, you'd be overwhelmed by thousands of shimmering items, from kitchenware, toys, household goods, to craft supplies, all sold at a fixed price of just 5 or 10 cents. Memories of Woolworths are linked with many generations of Americans. For many, especially children and teenagers, Woolworths was also a cultural hub. After school, friends often flocked here to browse the counters, pick out snacks, or simply enjoy the lively atmosphere. But perhaps what left the deepest impression in many people's memories was Woolworth's legendary lunch counter. Imagine the delicious smell of grilled cheese spreading throughout the store, or the cool, creamy milkshake melting in your mouth. Those grilled cheese sandwiches and milkshakes were not just food. They were part of first dates, after-school meetups with friends, or simply a quick but flavorful lunch. For parents, Woolworths was the ideal place to shop for school supplies for their children, from notebooks and pencils to new shoes. The convenience, affordable prices, and vibrant atmosphere made Woolworths an indispensable part of daily life for millions of American families. Zayre. Zayre, launched in 1956, is a name that carries many memories for those who grew up in working-class neighborhoods, especially on the East Coast and in the Midwest of the United States. This was not a neat or luxurious store. Instead, Zayre was famous as a treasure trove of discounted goods where aisles might be a bit cluttered, but you always felt like you would find something unique or a great bargain. It was where mothers found clothes for their children, affordable household items, and sometimes unexpectedly deeply discounted toys. The feeling of discovering a favorite item amidst the chaos of discounted merchandise was a special joy that Zayre provided. One of Zayre's most significant contributions to the retail industry was not within the chain itself, but in its role in launching one of today's most successful retail names, TJ Maxx. Zayre shifted its focus and resources to developing a more fashion-oriented discount store concept, which was the precursor to the birth of TJ Maxx. This demonstrates their strategic vision, even if it meant sacrificing the Zayre brand. Ultimately, in 1990, the remaining Zayre stores closed or were rebranded to make way for TJ Maxx and other retail chains. Zayre fulfilled its mission, not only as a discount store but also as an important stepping stone for a new retail empire, leaving many with fond memories of its cluttered aisles that were always full of exciting surprises. Hills. Our next stop is Hills, a department store with a special place in the hearts of people in the Rust Belt. As Christmas approached, Hills' toy department became a true wonderland for children. Imagine rows of shelves piled high with all kinds of toys, from dolls, remote-controlled cars, board games, to complex building sets, creating a magical world where every childhood toy dream could come true. Going to Hills to pick out Christmas toys became an indispensable tradition for many families. Besides the toy department, Hills was also famous for its signature snack bar. The delicious smell of grilled hot dogs, blended with the distinctive aroma of buttery popcorn, created a festive, cozy atmosphere that no other store could match. After a long shopping trip, stopping at the snack bar to enjoy a hot dog or a bag of buttery popcorn became a fun ritual, an inseparable part of the Hills shopping experience. Hills was also one of the first to implement the layaway payment policy, helping lower-income families still purchase large items, especially toys and gifts during the holidays, without having to pay the full amount immediately. Do you remember the smell of grilled cheese at Woolworths, or the buttery popcorn aroma of Hills? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your memories. J.C. Penney. Next on this journey, we visit J.C. Penney, a name that was once a shopping landmark in the hearts of Americans. Founded in 1902 by James Cash Penney, this department store chain quickly became a familiar destination for every family, offering everything from clothing and home goods to electronics. For many, J.C. Penney was where they bought annual back-to-school clothes, especially those sturdy Levi's jeans or their first suit for important occasions. One of J.C. Penney's most memorable symbols was the massive The Wish Book catalog. Every holiday season, especially at Christmas, the Wish Book was released and became a magical book in the eyes of children. Imagine children eagerly flipping through the pages, using pencils to mark their dream toys on their Christmas wish lists. This catalog was not just a shopping tool, it was also a part of family tradition, bringing hope and anticipation for the holiday season. Additionally, many J.C. Penney stores also had in-store hair salons, offering a unique experiential right. You could shop and get beauty services at the same time, creating a complete weekend outing. J.C. Penney was also a pioneer in opening catalog outlet stores where consumers could hunt for discounts easily, turning these stores into heaven for those who loved quality items at affordable prices. Ames. In small towns across the northeastern and midwestern United States, Ames was a familiar name, as close as an old friend. Founded in 1958, Ames quickly became a reliable and incredibly affordable discount store. For many families in small communities, Ames was where they could find everything you need, from clothing, home goods, toys, to school supplies, all at very reasonable prices. This store became an indispensable part of daily life, a convenient and economical shopping destination. In its heyday, Ames demonstrated its innovation and ambition by acquiring the Zayre chain in the late 1980s to compete directly with giants like Kmart and Walmart. This move showed Ames' continuous effort to expand its market share and modernize its business operations. Not long after, the overly rapid expansion led to severe consequences. The chain became heavily indebted after the acquisitions and could not maintain operational efficiency in the fierce competitive landscape. Ultimately, Ames disappeared completely in 2002, leaving behind regret for those who had been connected with this friendly and convenient discount store. Venture. Let's explore Venture, a discount store chain with the slogan, "Save with Style," which was once a familiar destination in the Midwest of the United States. Venture, founded in 1970 and part of May department stores, offered a different shopping experience compared to traditional discount stores. Instead of cramped and cluttered spaces, Venture stood out with brighter shopping spaces, neater shelves, creating a more pleasant and upscale feel for customers. This was Venture's innovation. They brought a unique combination of the affordability of a discount store with the luxurious, clean department store style. You could buy good items at a bargain price while still feeling like you were shopping in an organized and aesthetically pleasing place. Memories of Venture are often associated with weekend shopping trips, where families could find fashionable clothes, useful home goods, or charming small gifts without worrying about the cost. The feeling of saving with style was something Venture successfully conveyed to its customers. Sears. We cannot fail to mention Sears, the giant that once dominated the American retail industry for decades. Founded in 1892, this department store was a part of American culture, providing everything a family could need. For many generations, Sears was where they bought durable tough-skins jeans for the new school year, a type of clothing that became a symbol of durability and practicality. Just like J.C. Penney, Sears The Wishbook catalog was an indispensable tradition during the holiday season. This thick book contained thousands of products, from famous craftsman tools, durable die-hard batteries, Kenmore home appliances, Allstate insurance, and even whole houses available for order through the catalog. Imagine a house shipped piece by piece to your land. Sears changed the way Americans shopped and lived, bringing unprecedented convenience and product variety. In 1970, Sears demonstrated its profound influence by building the Sears Tower in Chicago, which we know as the tallest building in the world. While other competitors quickly invested in technology and modern customer experiences, Sears clung to its old model. This led to Sears's gradual decline, losing its leading position and becoming a shadow of its former self by the late 2010s. Ben Franklin. Unlike the larger chains, Ben Franklin had its own unique charm, very familiar and approachable. It was where you could shop for everything from craft supplies, toys, school supplies to small household items. Notably, each Ben Franklin store had its own character because it operated under a franchise model. This meant that each store owner could partially decide on the merchandise, creating diversity and personality for each location, making exploring each Ben Franklin store feel like a small adventure. You might find a unique item in one store that wasn't available in another, creating a personal connection with your shopping place. One of the most interesting things about Ben Franklin, and also a highlight of the chain's innovation, is that it was where Sam Walton, the founder of the great Walmart empire, began his retail career. Walton learned and applied many valuable lessons from Ben Franklin's five and dime model to build Walmart later, a story that demonstrates Ben Franklin's influence in American retail history. Despite nurturing one of the greatest retailers, Ben Franklin's fate was not so fortunate. The chain was gradually pushed out of the spotlight by large supermarket chains, especially Walmart. The price competitiveness and scale of the giant supermarkets made it very difficult for small stores like Ben Franklin. Montgomery Ward. Before the internet, Montgomery Ward brought the world to the doorsteps of millions of rural families through its massive mail-order catalog. This catalog was a storytelling book, especially the toy section before every Thanksgiving, enchanting both children and adults. It contained everything from clothing, home goods, farm tools to the smallest items, allowing people living in remote areas to access a myriad of products they couldn't find in local stores. Montgomery Ward is also credited as being the first to use the slogan, "Satisfaction Guaranteed," or your money back in advertising. This slogan became a gold standard in the retail industry, demonstrating the company's strong commitment to customer satisfaction and building great trust. Additionally, Montgomery Ward also had physical stores later that offered a wide variety of goods from tires to home appliances, providing a comprehensive shopping experience. As physical stores thrived, Montgomery Ward also expanded its department store system, but they failed to keep pace with the rapid changes in modern retail. Competition from shopping malls, the rise of large retail chains, and finally the explosion of online shopping gradually caused Montgomery Ward to lose its position. In 2001, Montgomery Ward completely closed its doors, ending an era of iconic catalogs. Service merchandise. Service merchandise was unlike any other store because they were unique. Founded in 1934 and gaining fame in the 1960s to 70s, they offered a different and futuristic shopping approach, which today we might find quite unique and effective for its time. You would enter a giant showroom where product samples were displayed. To purchase, you didn't pick up items from the shelves yourself. Instead, you would browse a thick catalog, select the item you wanted, fill out an order slip, and then wait. The magic happened next. Your item would appear from the back, on a magical conveyor belt, as if delivered from another world. The excitement of waiting for your item to emerge from behind the wall was an unforgettable experience for many. As customers increasingly wanted to take goods home immediately without waiting, and as large supermarkets began to sell a wider variety of products at competitive prices, service merchandise's model gradually became outdated. Soon after, it disappeared because it could not compete with the consumer trend of instant gratification. Radio Shack. Our journey takes us to Radio Shack, a paradise for tech enthusiasts and electronics DIYers. Radio Shack was a center of knowledge and inspiration for those passionate about electronics, from the 70s to the 90s. When you stepped into Radio Shack, you would see what seemed like cluttered aisles, but they contained thousands of tiny electronic components, wires, batteries, adapters, and even the legendary TRS-80 computers. The distinctive scent of plastic and electronic components always brought back memories of tinkering and assembling projects. What made Radio Shack special was its tech-savvy staff, ready to help customers. Do you have an electronics problem? Do you want to assemble a circuit yourself? The staff at Radio Shack didn't just sell products. They were also teachers, consultants, ready to share knowledge and guide you to find the right components. This was an important innovation, creating a community for people with shared passions. KB Toys. From the world of technology, we move to the world of childhood with KB Toys, a final destination for every child at the mall. KB Toys was not just a toy store, it was a colorful, magical world, full of dreams and excitement. When you stepped into KB Toys, you would be captivated by rows of shelves piled high with toys, from glamorous Barbie dolls, powerful action figures, to challenging board games. The sound of new toys, children's laughter, and a festive atmosphere always filled the air. For children, KB Toys was the place to make birthday and Christmas wish lists, a place to dream and explore. Parents also came here to find the perfect gifts for their children, knowing they would find something special. KB Toys successfully created a space for children to dream and explore, a destination where every trip was an adventure. The Sharper Image. The Sharper Image, a place dubbed the gateway to the future right in your mall. The Sharper Image didn't sell essentials, they sold experiences, unique high-tech gadgets that you didn't really need but really wanted. Imagine walking into the store and being able to try out relaxing massage chairs, discover modern air purifiers or other unique high-tech gadgets you'd never seen anywhere else. Every item in the Sharper Image exuded sophistication and modernity, making you feel like you were in a miniature tech exhibition. The Sharper Image successfully created a feeling of anything is possible with high-tech gadgets, attracting those who loved novelty and innovation. It was a place to explore, to marvel at things that seemed only possible in the future. Of all the stores above, which one would you most want to bring back? Share your thoughts below. We'd love to know your favorite memory. A&P, the Great Atlantic and Pacific Tea Company. When you stepped into A&P, one of the first things you smelled was the rich aroma of freshly ground 8 o'clock coffee wafting throughout the store. Founded in 1859, A&P was dubbed the inventor of modern grocery shopping and was once the largest grocery chain in America in the mid-20th century. For millions of American families, A&P was not just a store, but an indispensable part of their weekly routine. That alluring scent was the smell of weekend mornings, of conversations around the family dinner table. A&P was famous for its affordable prices and wide variety of products, from fresh produce, canned goods to household products. It revolutionized how people shopped for food, bringing convenience and abundant choices to families. Winn-Dixie. Next is Winn-Dixie, a familiar pillar in the southern United States. Founded in 1925, Winn-Dixie stood out with friendly service, community orientation, and its famous slogan, "The customer is king." This was not just a place to buy food, it was also where communities gathered, where neighbors met and shared daily stories. Memories of Winn-Dixie are often associated with the warmth and hospitality of the South. The staff were always welcoming and ready to help, creating a pleasant and friendly shopping atmosphere. You could find everything you needed, from quality fresh products to local specialties, all served with a smile. Winn-Dixie was a symbol of community cohesion and customer loyalty. Kmart. With over 2,000 locations at its peak, Kmart was famous for many things, but perhaps most memorable was the blue light special. You probably remember when you were shopping, suddenly a blue light flashed and an announcement rang out. Kmart paging. Blue light special in aisle 7. This signaled a quick, unexpected discount on specific items, creating an atmosphere of excitement and bargain hunting in the store. Additionally, the Kmart Cafe was also a favorite stop for many, famous for its soft pretzels and refreshing icy drinks. This was an ideal place to rest after a shopping trip, or a small dating spot for teenagers. Kmart's layaway policy was also an important innovation, helping families with modest incomes still purchase Christmas gifts or large items by paying in installments over time. Kmart continuously innovated to maintain and strengthen its position. They once collaborated with famous stars like Martha Stewart and Jaclyn Smith to create exclusive product lines, attracting customers. What memorable item did you ever buy at Sears or Kmart? Do you have any special memories there? Tell me. Share your story in the comments below. TG&Y. Before Walmart became the retail kingpin, TG&Y was an unmissable name in the southern and midwestern United States. Short for the names of its three founders, Tomlinson, Goslin, and Young, TG&Y was a true destination discount store, known for its affordable prices and a genuine five and dime feel. Memories of TG&Y often evoke images of a store where everyone in the family could find something. It was where mothers found sewing patterns and embroidery floss for their craft projects, while children eagerly browsed the toy section and collected the latest baseball cards. TG&Y was not a flashy store, it was simple, practical, and most importantly, economical. Its slogan, "Your best buy is a TG&Y," promised to deliver affordable prices and truly did so, attracting a large loyal customer base. TG&Y represented a time when local and regional discount stores could still thrive. They offered an alternative to traditional department stores, providing better value for families. However, fierce competition from large retailers, especially the explosion of Walmart and Kmart in the late 1980s, created unbearable pressure for TG&Y. The larger chains had advantages in scale, negotiation power with suppliers, and huge marketing resources. Alpha Beta. Continuing our journey, we arrive at Alpha Beta, a unique grocery chain with an innovative approach, arranging merchandise alphabetically. Founded in 1915, Alpha Beta created a different shopping experience, making it easier for customers to find products. Shopping at Alpha Beta was a pleasant experience. Everything was logically organized from A to Z. The aisles were incredibly clean, bright, and the staff friendly. This chain was also famous for its well-known jingle on TV and radio, a catchy tune that stuck in many consumers' minds. Alpha Beta was also one of the first chains to introduce a loyalty program, a concept of customer loyalty that later became popular. In a context where the grocery industry became increasingly centralized and competitive, Alpha Beta was gradually sold off in the 1980s to 1990s. Dominick's. Let's recall Dominick's, a fixture in the Chicago area for nearly a century. Founded in 1918, Dominick's was more than just a grocery store, it was a part of the community, notable for its emphasis on local fresh produce, in-house deli with delicious Italian-style sandwiches, and high-quality meats. For many families in Chicago, Dominick's was where they found the freshest ingredients for their daily meals and traditional Italian dishes prepared on site. Dominick's successfully created a personal, neighborhood-like shopping experience. You didn't just come to shop, but also to chat with neighbors and friendly store staff, creating a cozy and familiar feeling. The emphasis on quality and service built strong loyalty within the community. Food Lion. Continuing our journey, we arrive at Food Lion, a beloved grocery chain in the southeastern United States, known for its affordable prices and no-frills approach. Food Lion quickly became a top choice for families looking to save money while still getting quality products. Food Lion is often associated with its iconic lion mascot and its MVP customer program, where customers could receive special deals and discounts. Food Lion's less waiting in line policy also appealed to busy shoppers, providing convenience and saving time. Food Lion successfully built customer loyalty through its discount programs and commitment to value. Big Bear Stores. Big Bear stores were associated with giant warehouse-style stores with wide aisles, providing comfortable space for customers to explore and shop. The slogan, "The store that's all yours," expressed the freedom and convenience that Big Bear offered consumers. Weekly promotions and value items made Big Bear a familiar destination for families wanting to buy in bulk at good prices. The fate of Big Bear stores could not withstand the expansion of giant national chains like Walmart and Kroger. With larger scale, superior operational efficiency, and the ability to offer lower prices, these competitors gradually took over Big Bear's market. Ultimately, Big Bear stores closed in 2004, ending an era for one of the pioneers in the supermarket industry. White Hen Pantry. White Hen Pantry, a beloved convenience store chain primarily in the Chicago area. Founded in 1965, White Hen Pantry became an indispensable part of local residents' daily lives. White Hen Pantry was often where you'd quickly stop for milk, bread, or especially their famous deli sandwiches. The deli counter was White Hen Pantry's characteristic charm, attracting busy families and those wanting a quick but quality meal. Fresh, made-to-order sandwiches built a special reputation for this convenience store chain, going beyond a typical convenience store. White Hen Pantry offered convenience, speed, and quality for busy urban life. Schwegmann Giant Supermarkets. Let's explore Schwegmann. Giant Supermarkets, a pioneering grocery chain in New Orleans and one of the first true supermarkets in America. Schwegmann was famous for its giant stores offering multiple services, from groceries to pharmacies, creating a comprehensive shopping center. Their unique and humorous newspaper advertisements reflected the distinctive spirit and culture of New Orleans. The large stores, full of merchandise and a vibrant atmosphere, made Schwegmann a familiar destination for bulk shopping. An innovation and also a characteristic of Schwegmann was its reputation for independence, often refusing acquisition offers from large corporations, demonstrating a commitment to local culture and its own business style. With massive resources and competitive pricing strategies, new competitors gradually captured Schwegmann's market share. Finally, Schwegmann's last store closed in 1999. Food Fair, Pantry Pride. Our journey takes us to Food Fair, later known as Pantry Pride, a popular grocery chain in the mid-20th century in the Northeast and Florida. Food Fair was known for its large, bright stores offering a wide variety of products and competitive prices. It was one of the first chains to install air conditioning and self-service features, providing a more comfortable and efficient shopping experience for customers. Customers could comfortably stroll through the wide aisles, selecting products in a cool and convenient space, something not every store had at that time. Safeway. Our journey takes us to Safeway, one of the most recognizable grocery chains in America, especially on the West Coast. Safeway was known for its iconic S logo and the unique marina-style architecture of its stores, creating a distinct impression. For many families, following Safeway's weekly ad schedule became an indispensable ritual, helping them plan their shopping and save money. Safeway was a place to shop for food, a part of daily life where families found convenience and quality. This chain once introduced some of the earliest self-checkout systems, a significant innovation that helped reduce waiting times and enhance the shopping experience for customers. Safeway house brands were also very popular, offering quality products at affordable prices. Although it still exists today, Safeway's presence has significantly decreased, with many stores closing or being sold to other corporations. Piggly Wiggly. Piggly Wiggly is credited with introducing the concept of the first self-service grocery store in America, a leap that completely changed how people shopped for food. Before Piggly Wiggly, grocery shopping was a time-consuming process. Customers had to give a list to a clerk, who would then retrieve the items. But at Piggly Wiggly, customers were free to choose products from the shelves themselves, a seemingly simple concept that was a great innovation, bringing unprecedented convenience and efficiency. The pig mascot and distinctive pink and white signage of Piggly Wiggly became symbols of innovation and a completely new shopping experience. Memories of Piggly Wiggly are often associated with the freedom of choice, the ability to control one's own shopping cart, and the feeling of efficiency while shopping. Customers could freely compare products and discover new items on their own without being limited by a salesperson. Grand Union. A grocery giant in the northeast of the United States that cannot be overlooked is Grand Union. Founded in the 1870s, Grand Union was once a major force, known for its diverse selection and competitive prices. Memories of Grand Union are often linked to its emphasis on local fresh produce and delicious in-store bakeries. The smell of freshly baked bread and the display of fresh fruits and vegetables created an attractive and natural shopping atmosphere. Grand Union also always had attractive deals in its weekly ad circulars, drawing customers to hunt for discounts and save money. This showed their innovation in attracting and building customer loyalty. This chain became an indispensable part of daily life for many families in the Northeast, providing quality products and value. Lucky Stores. Our journey arrives at Lucky Stores, a beloved grocery chain that once dominated the West Coast, especially in California. Founded in 1935, Lucky Stores was known for its friendly service and iconic Lucky Red bags. These bags were not just containers for goods, but also a symbol of Lucky Stores, evoking memories of fun and convenient shopping trips. One of the innovations and also what made Lucky Stores unique was its three's a crowd policy, ensuring that no one had to wait long at the checkout counter. If there were 3 or more customers in line at a checkout, staff would quickly open another lane to serve them, demonstrating Lucky Stores' commitment to customer experience and efficiency. Additionally, the in-store deli counters and bakeries were also an essential part of the Lucky Stores shopping experience, providing convenience and a variety of fresh products. Eagle Food Centers. Finally on this list of stores is Eagle Food Centers, a grocery chain in the Midwest, Illinois, Iowa, known for its customer service and community involvement. Founded in 1893, Eagle Food Centers built a strong relationship with its customers. Do you remember the quality Eagle brand private label products at lower prices, providing real value to consumers? Weekly ads and double coupon promotions were also factors that attracted customers to Eagle. This chain was designed with moderately sized stores, easy to navigate, creating a friendly and not overwhelming feeling like larger supermarkets. Thanks for watching. We hope you found deep insights from this story. If you love exploring emotional historical journeys, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next videos from Back to Yesterday.